Teresa Zimmerman has come to Badlands Park to monitor the bighorns after new stock was brought in from New Mexico. The park had to bring sheep in from other states to introduce a population back into the Badlands.
The last bighorn sheep was harvested in 1925. In 1894, as this area was being settled, domestic sheep were brought into the Badlands National Park area. And bighorn sheep and domestic sheep are not very tolerant of one another. Domestic sheep carry bacteria that are lethal to bighorn sheep. So the introduction of domestic sheep in this area, coupled with unrestricted harvesting for food for miners and loggers out in the Black Hills, is primarily what caused the decimation of the species.
In 1964, South Dakota Game Fish and Parks and the National Park Service first reintroduced the bighorn sheep by bringing in some animals from Colorado. In 2004, new animals were brought up from New Mexico to help broaden the sheep's gene pool. Today, the park's population has grown to over 80 animals.
Bighorn sheep are able to access areas that other species are not able to access. Bighorn sheep are tied to very, very rugged terrain. They generally select slopes between 27 and 85 degrees, so very, very steep slopes. Their hooves move independently of one another. So as they're climbing up these really steep terrains, one hoof will be a little bit higher, and also the back portion of their hoof is semi-sticky, which allows them to grip. So they're able to access areas where sod tables or patches of vegetation that are on very, very steep slopes or very, very high up. And so they offer grazing opportunities in areas that are, these plant systems definitely need and thrive on. So they offer just a bit of diversity and occupy a very unique niche here, which no other species is capable of doing.
The sheep are a park favorite among visitors, performing high-altitude acrobatics that are rarely seen elsewhere.
The visitors are very excited. Bighorn sheep occupy such steep and rugged terrain that oftentimes it's very hard to see the species in a natural setting. They are very, very charismatic species. They're very playful. And there's really not a whole lot that's known about the species, primarily in systems like this.
Zimmerman utilizes transmitter collars to help track down the sheep. Monitoring the bighorns is key to gaining valuable observations.
So this is what we call a VHF radio collar, very high frequency. It emits a frequency much like your radio stations do. And so this collar has a specific channel on it, so you can think of it like a channel on your television. So what we do then is we put this collar around the neck of the animal so it fits much like a belt. We want to make sure that the collar is on tight enough so that an animal won't lose the collar, or won't get a foot caught up in the collar, but also loose enough so that the animal is still able to eat and things like that normally. And then I make observations about behavior, what sort of habitat we find them in, the composition of the herd, so how many males are in there, how many females, the age of the males if they're there, the number of lambs, activities like that.